Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade granola. This stuff is a staple in our house. We make it about twice a month and it's so much better than store-bought, and you're going to find yourself doing the same thing. It comes together really quickly and you're going to enjoy this recipe. So let's go over ingredients. You're going to need 6 cups of rolled oats, okay? You're going to need a ½ teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of cinnamon, and a ¼ cup of chia seeds. This is optional. Sometimes I use hemp seeds. I just want something a little bit to stick to their guts a little bit more, because cereal can be one of those things where they eat it and then they're hungry 5 minutes later. So I like adding chia seeds or hemp seeds to help with that. Also, for your wet ingredients, you're going to need a ¼ cup of melted butter, a ¼ cup of melted coconut oil. Once again, I like that good fat. It just stays with them a little bit longer. But I do have a family member that cannot have coconut, so you're good just to do a whole cup, or excuse me, a whole ½ cup of butter if that is the case. So feel free to do that, or vice versa. If you can't have dairy, then stick with the coconut oil. And then you're going to need a ½ cup of maple syrup or honey, and 1 teaspoon of homemade vanilla extract. And of course, your coffee. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is add in all my dry ingredients to my big bowl. So I'm just going to take my chia seeds and my cinnamon and my salt, and we're just going to get a big spoon and just mix it all together. It's a great recipe for fall because it just smells so good, that cinnamon. I'm going to set that aside and we're going to focus on our wet ingredients. For this, I just take a larger Pyrex dish and a spatula, and I just add all of my wet ingredients into one container. And we're going to scrape it into our dry goods here. And mix together. Now, you can preheat your oven before you even start, and then it's just ready to go. You can spread this out on the baking sheets and then go ahead and cook it. What I've been doing lately is letting this sit for a little while, letting that wet mixture really absorb into the rolled oats. I just am finding that it's creating a little bit more flavor, and so I'm going to let this sit until my oven goes off. Now that my oven is preheated, I'm going to go ahead and pour it out onto 2 baking sheets. Now, these are very large baking sheets. I believe they're called half sheets, and it's enough to spread it out. You don't want it piled on top of each other because it's not going to crisp up. So you want it as thin as you can get it. And I just find that 2 baking sheets is adequate for this amount. All right, so I'm just going to divide it in half. Just eyeball it. From here, you just want to make sure your hands are clean, and you're just going to spread it out the best that you can onto your baking sheet. And as you can see, I still have a little bit room, so if your baking sheets are a little bit smaller, I think you'll be okay. Just the goal is to try to get it as spread out as you can so that it has a chance to crisp up. Okay, and then I just brush off my fingers. And then just do the same thing on the other baking sheet. And then brush your hands off the best you can and go wash your fingers. So now we're going to place these into the oven for about 30 minutes. The only thing is I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes because I'm going to keep rotating and twisting my pans around. And I want to do that about every 10 minutes just to get the air flowing through all the pieces in your oven. Unless you have a convection oven, this is just the best way to do that. And so this works great. So go ahead and put them into your oven. and enjoy another coffee break. So now that our granola is all done, I grabbed my big jar and we're gonna fill it up. This should last you about a week or so. In our house, it only lasts 2 days. So you'll just have to see how long this lasts in your home. So I'm gonna grab my pan and I kind of just take my parchment paper and fold it in half and try not to make a mess. So I might have to just take some of the pieces and drop them in there. Look, I'm already making a mess. So I'm just gonna scoop a couple of handfuls. All right, it should be good enough for me to pick up now. There we go. And there's just a few little stragglers left on my pan. I'll just gather those up. Now I've saved my parchment paper. As you can see, it's still really clean. I'll use this to like bake another round of granola or to bake some cookies, and I just fold them up and keep them in a bag in the back of my pantry. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You let me know. And look at that. You just made some homemade granola. You should be really proud of yourself. Your kids are gonna love it, and so are you. If you like this recipe, check out our other homemade simple dishes.